October 14, 1943. 15,000 feet above Schweinfurt, Germany. A German fighter pilot scribbled a routine note in his logbook as another B-17 Flying Fortress fell away, trailing smoke. Through the canopy of his Focke-Wulf 190, he saw the remaining bombers tighten formation, their gunners hosing the empty sky with .50 caliber fire where the attackers had been seconds earlier. The arithmetic of aerial combat was simple and brutal. Fighters chose the moment, struck from the sun, and vanished before turret guns could track. Without escorts, the bombers were expensive targets. 291 B-17s had crossed into German airspace to hit the ball-bearing works at Schweinfurt. By nightfall, 60 would not return, with 17 more written off on landing. The Luftwaffe called it a turkey shoot. The Americans called it Black Thursday. No one in the air that day knew how quickly the balance would shift. By late 1943, German confidence was earned. Pilots like Walter Dahl, Heinz Knocke of 5, JG-11, and tacticians such as Egon Mayer had turned bomber interception into a science. The American combat box of 18 to 21 bombers promised mutual defense, each B-17 bristling with machine guns. In practice, the box had seams, blind spots forward, limited ammunition, and gunners shaken by repeated high-speed attacks. Mayer and Knoke perfected the head-on pass, approaching from 12 o'clock high at 400 miles per hour, firing a short burst into cockpits and engines, then breaking away before the top turret could engage. JG-11 rehearsed line-abreast company front attacks with FW-190s, saturating the formation with simultaneous threats. Panic did the rest. During the Schweinfurt-Regensburg mission on August 17, 1943, 60 bombers were lost. When the 8th Air Force returned on October 14th, attrition was even worse. The weakness lay in range. P-47 Thunderbolts with drop tanks could barely reach the border. P-38s had troubles in European cold and at altitude. German controllers tracked the bomber streams and waited beyond escort range for what pilots called the golden moment, the instant the little friends turned back. The machine that ended that moment was born from a British request. In 1940, North American aviation proposed a new fighter rather than license-build P-40s. The NA-73X flew that October. Early Allison-engined Mustangs excelled down low, not at the altitudes bombers needed. Then, in 1942, Rolls-Royce's Ronald Harker flew one and urged a marriage with the two-stage supercharged Merlin. Packard-built Merlins transformed the airframe. The P-51B climbed faster, flew higher, and most importantly, could do it far longer. Its laminar flow wing, refined from NACA research, kept airflow attached deeper into the chord, cutting drag. Internal fuel of 184 gallons in a sleek airframe, plus drop tanks, first 75-gallon, then the 108-gallon paper tanks, pushed combat radius from roughly 650 to over 800 miles. Where a P-47 might burn 100 gallons an hour in cruise, a Mustang sipped about 65 at the same speed. Berlin was no longer theoretical. It was reachable, with time to fight. The 354th Fighter Group, the Pioneer Mustangs, began receiving P-51Bs at Boxted in November 1943. On December 13th, Mustangs escorted bombers to Kiel, previously out of reach. On December 20th, they covered Bremen and claimed victories without loss. German pilots, expecting the escorts to peel away, reported with disbelief that the American fighters kept coming. Major Klaus Mayatusch of JG-26 grasped the meaning after Mustangs chased his Staffel to the circuit. The sanctuary was gone. The psychological demolition reached its zenith in early March 1944 when P-51s escorted bomber streams to Berlin. Colonel Don Blakesley's 4th Fighter Group led among the units that proved what German leaders had declared impossible. Goering reportedly said that when he saw Mustangs over Berlin, he knew the war was lost. The line is likely apocryphal, but the shock was real. Luftwaffe pilots who once fell upon exhausted gunners now collided with fresh, high-flying escorts that could pursue them home. Strategy shifted with hardware. In January 1944, General Jimmy Doolittle ordered escorts to hunt the Luftwaffe rather than cling to the bombers. Big Week, February 20-25, smashed aircraft factories while Mustangs roamed the air routes, airfields, and assembly points. Sturmgruppen, heavily armored FW-190 assault units, formed to batter through fighter screens, but nimble Mustangs cut them apart. German losses mounted, especially in irreplaceable veterans. American training filled ranks. German fuel shortages and compressed syllabi did not. For American pilots, the Mustang felt like permission to go anywhere. Don Gentile called it the airplane they dreamed of. Speed to catch, agility to fight, range to stay. The cockpit was cramped, the oxygen biting dry for 6 hours straight, your neck aching from constant checks. But the K-14 gun sight, introduced later that year, 6 fast-firing Brownings with deep ammunition belts, and an engine that pulled hard at altitude, gave pilots the confidence to press and keep pressing. German aces like Günter Rall would later concede the system worked. Airframe, engine, fuel, tactics, industry, aligned. Beneath the numbers was a human storm. Men barely out of their teens froze at -50, burned, bailed out, and sometimes watched enemies fall in flames with no way to help. By summer 1944, Mustangs ranged to the refineries at Leuna, Pulitz, Bleckhammer, and Brooks. Aviation fuel production collapsed. Training flights dwindled. New German pilots arrived with a fraction of the hours their opponents had. Letters home shaded from bravado to resignation. The Americans were everywhere, always with more fuel. German pilots once laughed at unescorted bombers. By 1944, they looked up and found Mustangs, over Bremen, over Munich, over Berlin, escorting the heavies to the heart of the Reich, and waiting to fight on their terms. The arithmetic of the air war had been rewritten.